Hello students, you are welcome in probability part 2 chapter 16. We want to do some more events today, more type of events. One is the mutually exclusive events. Now what are mutually exclusive events? Two or more than two events are said to be mutually exclusive if they cannot occur simultaneously. So to understand this, you consider an experiment. A die is rolled, then sample space, we know this is sample space, any number in the form up to 6, write in the form of set. So 1 2 3 4 5 6. Now consider two events E1 and E2. The first event is getting an odd number, second event is getting an even number. So we know these two events cannot occur simultaneously. It means if E1 is happening, then E2 will not happen. So, or to understand this, you find their intersection. So E1 and intersection E2, that is a null set. It means there is no sample point common. So then these type of events will be mutually exclusive events. So to find whether the events are mutually exclusive or not, we will find their intersections, E1 intersection E2, or if it is phi, then they will be mutually exclusive. So now what are exhaustive events? Event E1 and E2 are said to be exhaustive if E1 union E2, that is equal to sample space set. So if E1 union E2 is sample space equal to sample space set, then E1 and E2 are said to be said to be exhaustive events. Similarly, if there are three events ABC associated to sample space S and A union B union C is S, then ABC are called exhaustive events. So these are exhaustive. Now the questions based on these concepts. This is exercise 16.2. So three coins are tossed once. A denote the event 3 heads, B denote 2 heads and 1 tail, C is the event 3 tails, D a head shows on the first coin. So these are events. Identify mutually exclusive events, simple events and compound events. Now you write sample space if 3 coins are tossed once. This is sample space containing 8 elements. So write down event A. Event A is 3 head appears. So this is only one case. So A is the set containing HHH. B is the event 2 head and 1 tail. So from the sample space you have to select the cases 2 head and 1 tail. So this is 2 head and 1 tail. This is also HTH, THH. So this is event B, write in the form of set. Similarly event C 3 tails. Event D head on the first toss. So you may have any result on the remaining 2 coins. So HHH, HHT. So these are the cases where head in the first toss. So these are events ABCD. Now you have to observe, to find mutually exclusive events, you have to check the A intersection B, intersections of the various these sets. These are 4 sets. So first A intersection C. A intersection C. So there is no element common, so it is phi. Similarly, A intersection B, there is no element common, so it is also phi. Similarly, B intersection C is also phi. C intersection D is also phi. So all these are empty sets. So it means if A intersection C is phi, then A and C are mutually exclusive events. Similarly, because A intersection B is phi, then A and B are also mutually exclusive. So similarly, we can say that B intersection C, C intersection D are also mutually exclusive events. Now you observe event A and C, event A and C. So event A and D. So if these events now, for if you observe event A and D, so HHH is also present in D, so A intersection D is not phi, so that's why A and D are not mutually exclusive. Now what are simple event? Event which contains one sample point. The elements written inside are called sample points. So there is one sample point in event A, so this is simple. In event B there are more than one sample point, so this is compound event. So if this event is also simple, this event is compound event. So I hope it is clear to all of you. So this is question number 4 of exercise 16.2. Now question number 5. So question is 3 coins are tossed. Write 2 events which are mutually exclusive and exhaustive. Second part, which are mutually exclusive but not exhaustive. So if 3 coins are tossed, then this is the sample space. So you have to write first sample space. Then we have to write 2 events which are mutually exclusive. It means there should not be any sample point common, and exhaustive, their union should be equal to sample space. So I am writing 2 events. Let event A at least one head. So you have to write down all possible cases. At least one head. At least one head means you have to write the cases containing 1 head, 2 head and maximum 3 heads. So these are the cases. Total 7 elements will be there. So this is event A. Let event B getting 3 tails. So if you observe A intersection B, it is phi. It means A and B are mutually exclusive. And if you find A union B, it is equal to S, which is sample space. So it means these events are exhaustive events. So therefore event A and B are mutually exclusive and exhaustive. Now you consider event C. C is at least one tail. This is at least one tail. So if you observe event A and C, so there this is A intersection C is not empty. So it means A and C are not mutually exclusive, but their union is S. So it is, these events are exhaustive events. So this is an example of exhaustive events but not mutually exclusive. But we want to write down 2 examples, 2 events which are mutually exclusive but not exhaustive. You consider event D getting 3 tails, and if you observe event B 3 tails, event D 3 heads. If you observe B intersection D, so this is B intersection D, this is phi, and B union D is not equal to sample space. B union D will have 2 elements. So it means B and D are mutually exclusive, but B and D are not exhaustive. So therefore B and D are mutually exclusive but not exhaustive. So this is event B. So you can write event B and D are mutually exclusive but not exhaustive. So B event is getting 3 tails, D event is getting 3 heads. So in this way you can write. I hope it is clear. Then question number 6. 2 dice are thrown. Now A getting an even number on the first die, C getting sum of the numbers less than equal to 5. So you have to write the event getting an even number on the first die. So you may have 2 on the first die. So any one of the number in the second throw. So 2 1 up to 2 6. Similarly you may have 4 on the first throw. So 4 1 to 4 6. 6 1 to 6 6. This is event A. Now you have to write down complement of A, not A. It means if you write the sample space will contain 36 elements. So not A means you have to write down if you follow the concepts of the set. So this is not A is S minus A. So it means you have to write down all elements of S which are not present in A. So write down it is 1 1, 1 up to 1 6, then 3 1 up to 3 6, and 5 1 up to 5 6. So this is not A. Similarly, event C, getting sum of the number less than 5. So sum of the number should be less than or equal to 5. So 1 1 1 2 up to 1 4, then 2 1 2 2 2 3. Then because 2 4 will not be there, so sum will be 6. Similarly 3 1 3 2 and 4 1. So this is C. And similarly you can write C complement or not C. So you will write down all elements of S which are not present in C. So I hope it is clear to all of you. Now, axiomatic approach to probability. In this approach, some axials and rules are deficient to assign the probability. So we have to assign the rule. What are these rules? So S is the sample space, P is the probability, and in this axiomatic approach, P, the probability, that is a real valued function whose domain is the power set of S and range is closed interval 0 to 1. This is, so what are different axioms? Now for any event E, P, probability of the event, that should be greater than or equal to 0, and it should be less than or equal to 1 because the range is closed interval 0 to 1. So minimum probability of the event can be 0, maximum can be 1. Second rule, E and F are, if E and F are mutually exclusive, then PE union F is equal to PE plus PF. Then third rule, summation of PWI. WI is the sample point in the sample space. So summation of PWI means probability of W1 plus probability of W2 and sum of all probabilities of the sample point, that should be 1. Wi is an sample point, so element of set S, and PA, that is summation of Wi, so where Wi is now the element of set A. So probability of the event is sum of all probability of all sample points present in set A. So these are the axioms that should be followed in the axiomatic approach, and I hope it is clear. That's all for today. So you try the questions of exercise 16.2.